Ashes of Creation is and was a scam. Who would have expected that the CEO who threatens to sue people because they say things that he doesn't like about his game, that doesn't even exist, by the way, was not a trustworthy person? Who would have expected that? My God. How could anyone have... Oh, wait, pattern recognition. Some of us were way ahead of the curve.
For everybody who was a part of that upper management and on that upper team, go fuck yourselves as well, because every single one of you knew what the fuck was going on. You tried to recoup as much as you possibly...
True, everyone at the upper management knew that this is gonna shut down, and they put it on Steam because they knew it's gonna shut down.
Could from the Steam fucking community so that you could at least try to make out even. You guys are absolute pieces of shit. One of the most anticipated MMORPGs in modern times, Ashes of Creation, a game that took in over $3 million in crowdfunding on Kickstarter and tens of millions through...
And it's not returning a single penny, by the way. Good stuff, good stuff.
...through key sales on their website is shutting down. Not only are they shutting down, but as of February 2nd, 2026, all employees of Intrepid Studios, the scammers behind the game, are laying off every employee at the studio, and due to the dire financials of the company, aren't able to process the payroll as of February 1st. So employees are laid off.
That is absolutely so hilarious. And you know what's my favorite thing? People actually see some of this gameplay, for example, this red lightning, and they're like, oh my god, it looks so... This is an Unreal 5 pre-made asset that you can buy on the shop. One of the biggest things about Ashes of Creation is, and was, the thing that all of their stuff that they have built is pretty much just something that you can get very similar at the bare minimum in the Unreal Engine shop for you know, a price.
Employees are laid off without pay, a community that has been left high and dry, and a game with over 12 years of development is now dead. This may be one of...
Honestly, for 12 years of development and finishing less than 10% of the total game and total things promised, I mean, damn. That is so impressive that some people bought this. And you know what? Honestly, it's bad that some people, and it's sad that some people lost money on this, that they believed on it. But this is honestly a good learning opportunity, because the people who bought and spent money on this, and some people spent like $500 or more even on this, honestly. Well, the thing is, that's going to be a lesson for life, and they're never going to fall for anything like this again. So technically, this was a good learning experience. Kind of expensive, but think of this situation in a positive light. The fact that you will never get scammed by something like this ever again.
The biggest blunders in gaming history, and I want to go over what the hell happened, how we got here, and I want to make the case for why I think this is one of the biggest scams in gaming history, and how Intrepid Studios pulled the rug out from every single backer of the game.
Ah, what an intro. Wow, please make it stop. Please, that was just... Wow, that was absolute pain. Holy.
For over
yeah. I love intros, but sometimes I don't.
12 years. It's an MMO that harkens back to the old school MMORPGs that put community first, creating a living, breathing, reactive world.
Yeah, community first. Add a bunch of mounts, but not the game.
Where your choices in-game can shape the future of the server that you're playing on. It was an incredibly ambitious title being funded by Steven Sharif, a multi-millionaire MMO player with zero game dev experience who made his start being recruited to an MLM company named Zango. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, this is what people were actually saying in the comments of the previous video I did. That, yeah, the guy who ran Ashes of Creation wasn't an MLM.
Fuck. Editing Big Fry here. I need you guys to remember Zango because this story just got a whole lot crazier as I'm editing this together. He had dreams of creating his own MMO, and to his credit, he went out and built a studio filled with industry talent with the hopes that they can create a game that takes him back to the glory days of when MMORPGs were on top. In interviews around—
Yeah, and he achieved absolutely none of it, which is honestly even more hilarious. And one of the crazy things I have heard about this is the fact that Intrepid Studios was burning almost $1 million in expenses per week. $1 million! That is a lot of money! A week! So effectively that's roughly... Actually, let's do a little bit of maths here, shall we? Let's do a little bit of math. So I heard that they have like 200 people, right? I'm gonna share the screen so you can see. Okay, good old calculator, never failed us once before. So we have, let's say 3.5. Hello. Okay, I guess the calculator can fail us. What the fuck? Does it not work? 3. Oh. Has my internet just died? Oh, no, it does work. Look at that, a 3. So 3.5 million. That's 3, 5, and 5 zeros. 3, 2 more zeros. And the last time I heard that company had like 200 employees. So their average salary a month for 200 employees is roughly 17K. Obviously, we can go to 400 employees. That would be times that would be not times 2, but once shit. Oh, we can actually do that. That would be divided by 2. So almost 9,000. If they have 400 employees, that means the average salary should be roughly 9,000 per head. Now, obviously, this is not true because the big boss started getting paid the most, but something does not add up here because you need to understand the expensive part about having a game studio is actually employee pay. So how the hell are they actually burning almost $1 million every week? Is insane. It just doesn't really add up that well. Either there's extremely high salaries, which seems like bullshit, or there's something going on there.
On the Kickstarter launch, Sharif explicitly stated that the project was primarily financed by himself, not dependent on external crowdfunding to keep going. And
yeah.
Even with those statements, the game went on to raise over $3 million in crowdfunding back in 2017 via Kickstarter. And after that successful Kickstarter, Intrepid then sold alpha packages on their storefront for years, with that package costing around $500 to first buy in. Now, the Kickstarter was meant to build a community and not fund the project, according to Sharif. In an interview with MMORPG
That's so strange to say.
back in 2021, Steven is quoted by saying that they're not governed by greedy corporate overlords. They're funding this project.
I'm sure we're gonna get to the part where Steven blames the board, and someone commented that the board is just Steven. Imagine if that's actually true. Steven blames, the CEO blames the board for destroying the game, and the board is him. Only him.
So no investors or a board to answer to, no publishers to appease. We speak with, not to, our community, and we actually listen and value and respect our players. Now, this kind of talk really solidifies trust in the gaming public. Nobody to answer to, no
Damn right, and Tectone lost a vibe check. So pathetic.
corporate overlords, no bullshit, just Intrepid Studios and the community that it wants to build. And similar sentiments were also shared about the Alpha 1 packages on the website. Keep in mind, those Alpha 1 packages were being sold on the site for $500 a piece. It's not about funding, it's about building a community and bringing people in that are truly dedicated to providing all of the feedback. Fuck off. Now, I fully believe that at the beginning of this journey,
I love when people buy the idea that the game wants you to work for them for free to provide feedback and stuff. I love it.
that was absolutely true, but something shifted a few years back when he seemingly went back on his word of not continuing those alpha packages. Keep in mind, at one point in time, the alpha 1 packages on the website were pulled down. You couldn't buy into it, and that was it. And that was this whole like, we don't need your money, trust us, we're not selling copies. He then went back on his word and opened up Alpha 2 and Beta packages on their website, with Alpha 2 costing
Oh yeah, that also happened, I forgot.
upwards of $250 a piece. More and more people started to ask questions about that fully funded quote, and it felt like a studio that was getting a bit desperate for cash. Alpha 2 keys being sold for $250 and one.
By the way, I just want to use this opportunity to talk about the development costs of AAA gaming in general. Not saying that this, but AAA in general. People are constantly saying, oh no, Assassin's Creed Shadows took only 100 million to make. Oh really? It only took 100 million to make. Then why is this thing shutting down? It has, as Ubisoft has literally multiple thousands of people working for it, and you're telling me it only took 100 million to make that? Then 200 people went bankrupt. Lol. After less than 50 million, that doesn't add up. It just somehow strangely does not add up.
Forum post estimates around 100,000 keys being sold. So that's an estimated 25 million USD. But the thing is none of these numbers are public. You know, I know a lot of people are looking at Ashes of Creation and they're going to look over the fence and say, yeah, look at what's about to happen to Star Citizen. At the very least, Star Citizen posts all of that publicly so you know exactly how much money they're getting away with. We don't even know how much money was stolen from the Ashes of Creation community. And I say stolen because
a lot, hopefully.
What just transpired over the last 60 days was one of the biggest rug pulls that I've ever seen in the gaming space, even more so than the day before. On November 14th.
By the way, I love the day before because people say that we won. We lost. The day before costed those people less than 0 to make, and they made something like 100,000 because to get the refund you needed to click a button and then you got it. So they still made money. We lost on the day before, sadly.
2025, Ashes of Creation released a press statement announcing that the current Alpha 2 experience, keep in mind $250 to buy into it, was then going to Steam Early Access on December 11th. With a convoluted account linking process for those who bought the game on the website previous to link to Steam to then get access to the game. And the game was launching on Steam Early Access for $50. Now, at that time, I made a video on my second channel where I said this. If I could be honest with you guys, like, I've seen so many MMOs come and go that, like, my automatic, like, go-to mentality is, yeah, okay, like, we'll see how long this lasts, you know, because they're all flashes in the pan.
Ooh, 0 out of 15 subs. Oof, pain.
But I hope that there's a good enough showing at launch that it won't just die instantly. So
yeah, not good, huh?
The press release also stated that early access will continue until the game reaches the level of quality, stability, and content breadth that we'd expect for launch. There is no fixed end date. The roadmap ahead includes progressing from Alpha 2 into Beta 1, then Beta 2, and eventually a full release once we feel Ashes of Creation delivers the experience our community deserves. So that was a fucking lie, but the wording of everything
it always is
that we're reading here matters for what's going to transpire down the line, trust me. As someone who also released a game in December, our first game actually, I know that this week Steam sent payments out to every developer for the month of December. I received ours for Transients on the 28th. 3 days after those payments cleared on Saturday, January 31st, Steven Sharif claims that control of the company shifted away from him. He said this in Discord of all places. Control of the company shifted away from him, leading to board-directed
I love how people are responding with fire emojis and this. I absolutely loved it. I love it. It's hilarious. You know who are the based ones? Obviously, pregnant Gabe Newell. And this emoji and the clown face, okay? Everything else is... nope.
Actions he could not ethically agree with or carry out. Remember that interview in 2021 where he said there's no board and nobody to answer to except for the community?
Yeah, fun times, huh?
That was also a fucking lie. His subsequent resignation, he said, was in protest of these decisions, preventing him from lending his name or authority to policies he deemed unethical. No idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. What policies that are unethical? Like, what do you mean? You were in an MLM. Like, it doesn't get much more unethical than that.
Unless this random board of directors that didn't exist back then now exists now, and they're just choosing to lay everybody off as soon as the Steam payment cleared. I don't know. Who's this board? You literally went on a press run like...
I would... Again, I wish that someone commented again last video that the board is just himself. I wish that was true. Imagine how funny that is.
4 years ago saying there was no board to answer to, but now the board took control of your company. Huh? Now shout out to OnePeg for getting me this information. When you search up the company on the California registry and you look at this information that was filed December 30th, 2025, so for your end of year, I'm gonna have the addresses of the pertinent people blurred out. I don't want privacy complaints. But what's weird is there's only one director listed on the company, and that's you. There's 2 officers because there is a chief financial officer who's John Moore, which, by the way, after this, I hope you don't fucking get hired anywhere else. But the number of vacancies on the board of directors is 0. There's 1 person listed on the board of directors. Who's this board? Now, this is where it gets real fucking...
It is him. It actually is him. He is the board. So Steven was unhappy with himself, so he fired himself because he did not agree with himself. Absolute cinema.
Juicy, because when you look up Intrepid Studios and the California Secretary of State UCC filings, you can see here that on January 14th, 2026, the new debt owner of the studio was assigned to one Karen L. Boreyko, who, if you guys don't know who Karen Boreyko is, she was a key person, a co-founder of a company called Vema, who is a multi-level marketing company that sold dietary supplements.
Nice.
Why does that sound familiar?
Dietary supplements are the also best MLM, okay?
Because Steven worked at a company called Zango, and both of these companies have been investigated for fraud and mismanagement of funds.
Now, to be absolutely fair, boys, if you have an MLM and you're not getting investigated for fraud, you're doing something wrong.
In 2013, Zango founder Brian Davis filed lawsuits accusing his partners of spying, threatening employees, falsifying distributor positions, embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars of assets from the company. Zango was then subsequently shut down, as well as Vema, who was shut down in 2015 by the FTC. They filed a lawsuit against the company, freezing their assets and seeking injunctive relief, and that the Boreyko family had inappropriately incorporated dozens of companies within the same staff and commingled funding. So now the person who owns the debt of Ashes of Creation in California is somebody that I'm guessing Steven had met through his MLM days. Fucking awesome. And so while Steven might not be talking about like a board of directors, he might be talking about, you know, the people that he took investment from, this Vema lien that was placed on the studio on January 14th of this year, still doesn't explain what he's fucking talking about when it comes to these unethical decisions that were made. It just kind of sounds like you're fucked and out of money. Following his departure...
By the way, someone offered me a free Ashes of Creation key. Thank you, by the way, whoever you were. You were on Discord, I forgot. I didn't take it because, I mean, Ashes of Creation at that point even then looked ass, and still does. And I told that person, this is a waste of money if you give it to me. Well, turns out it was a waste of money anyway, so I should have taken it.
Much of the senior leadership team also resigned, so there's no upper management. They're all gone. The resignations were quickly followed by widespread confirmation of mass layoffs. If you guys don't know who Margaret Crone is, she is Intrepid's...
Yep. Mommy Margaret Crone. Oh my god. I mean, I would do... unspeak things, boys. Listen, okay?
Long-standing director of communication. She posted on LinkedIn that her time with the studio has ended, stating that the amazing dev team was all laid off. Everybody's gone 3 days after the Steam payment clears. Got it. The situation deepened with reports of a worker adjustment and retraining notification, or a WARN Act. According to Theory Forge, who is a content creator covering this whole situation, he reviewed part of the notice, and the letter report...
By the way, I'm looking forward to... Opium Clinic, is that the YouTube channel or something like that? Who called me a grifter for speaking bad things about Ashes of Creation. I'm looking forward to the video where he talks about it shutting down. Man, I'm such an evil grifter. I grifted exactly perfectly on point yet again. It's pure cinema as always, boys. Just business, just business.
Reportedly stated that Intrepid Studios could not meet its recent payroll period and indicated a potential studio closure by the end of business on Monday, February 2nd. So by the time you guys are seeing this, that's going to be tomorrow. They're done. It's over. We didn't even get an actual announcement of closure from the studio. Now that might come after this video goes out, or it might come...
Well, that does not come as a surprise, to be honest.
Like, this is literally like breaking. It might come while I'm editing this video. I don't know. But the simple fact is they were paid from Steam this week, and a few days later, the entire studio gets shuttered. And despite the widespread departures and the imminent closure, you can still buy the fucking game on Steam. So here's what I need every single person to do who owns a copy of the game and has access to do it. I need you to go tank that review score. I need you to go and review bomb the absolute living fuck out of this game, because that's the only way Steam is then going to step in and potentially get people refunds.
Let's actually check. Ashes of Creation Steam DB. Let's check if anything's happening there. 50%, 3,000 currently, in up all-time peak of 32k 2 months ago. Oof, man, Jesus. Doing better than Code Vein, I guess.
Who are eligible for it. Truth of the matter is, a lot of people playing Ashes of Creation either spent upwards of $250 or $500 to play it. And here's what I will say. I know there's going to be a lot of people that jump at that and go, well, that's on them. And if you spent $250 or $500 on the game, it's on you. But at the end of the day, Steven can sit here and play this politic game where he says this board took control and did all this at the launch of Ashes of Creation.
But there is no board, as we now know.
On Steam on December 11th, 2025, you, Steven, knew that the fucking studio was in financial trouble, and you knew that that was your last final attempt at a cash grab before the fucking thing falls apart. You knew it. Anybody with any fucking business sense would know that the timeline doesn't match. You guys didn't even make it out 60 days and the company is shuttered. Everybody's laid off. There's a board breathing down your fucking neck. Some boogeyman board that nobody fucking knows about until right now. You're an absolute fucking scumbag. You're an absolute scammer.
Ooh.
And honestly, Steven, you're one of the biggest pieces of shit in the gaming space
Nice.
today. Go fuck yourself. For everybody who was a part of that upper management and on that upper team, go fuck yourselves as well, because every single one of you knew what the fuck was going on.
Exactly.
You knew it was a cash grab. You guys knew that the studio was going to shutter, and most likely you knew that this game was fucking dead, and you tried to recoup as much as you possibly could from the Steam fucking community so that you could at least try to make out even. I don't fucking know. But you guys are absolute pieces of shit. Yet another game goes out onto Steam knowing that they're going to fucking shutter and most likely fail, but you did it anyway because you needed to try to recoup as much. It was all business. You, for the last 12 fucking years, built up this community as if you actually gave a shit about anybody. But no, you really don't. You were a wolf in sheep's clothing pretending to be that hunky-do. Oh, I'm just a guy who wants to return to the glory days of fuck yourself. Intrepid Studios has a development update live stream currently scheduled for Friday, February 13th. I'm gonna venture to say nobody's gonna fucking be there, so it's probably not gonna happen. And this whole resigning in protest and talking about these unethical policies that you
resigning in protest to things that no one knows exists. Beautiful.
You couldn't put your name on. What does that even mean? These guys were staring down a double barrel shotgun to put this game onto Steam to try to recoup as much money as they possibly could before the thing all crumbles. I do feel bad for the developers who have been working and now won't see payroll. And the cream of the crop is on their Kickstarter from way back in 2017. There is a little caveat. There's a little statement there that says if the game does not launch, they will refund every single
but now it did launch. Beautiful.
backer of that Kickstarter to the tune of 3.27 million USD. Now, does a Steam early access release count as a launch? When you actually read that press release from November, it says early access begins on December 11th, 2025 and will continue until the game reaches the level of quality, stability, and content breadth we'd expect for launch. So while they might be able to argue that the Steam early access was a launch, their own wording on the press release about the Steam release would indicate that the studio doesn't actually consider this a launch, which means that there might actually be some actions that could be taken from the Kickstarter backers way back in 2017. The wording is right there on the page. You will be refunded if the game does not launch. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be a class action lawsuit that might go against Intrepid.
There could be, but I doubt it.
But I do feel like some action should be taken, especially considering the last 60 days, because in my opinion, it was malice to put this game out. You scammed your audience. You straight up scammed every single person who bought the game on Steam to the tune of, I mean, SteamDB estimates that there's 200,000 owners on Steam. I don't know if that also adds in the people like me who had the game on the website and then converted and like added it to our account. I don't know if that's actual purchases. I have no idea. But from my fucking tally, dude, we have 3.27 million from Kickstarter. We have 25 to potentially 50 million on the website selling Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 keys, plus the Steam launch. That's
Oh no! An alpha costing $100 is not a bad thing, actually, Quajad. You don't understand. Oh no! Beta keys for 500 euros. That's not actually bad, Quajad. You don't understand. Indeed, I don't. That's why I'm not currently facing this problem. It is what it is. Anyway, that was Big Fry TV. 10 out of 10. Bye.